Okay, so in our last lecture we looked at optimization, multivariable optimization, unconstrained optimization. So we derived conditions for optimality, necessary and sufficient condition, followed by the next lecture we looked at application to solving linear in parameter least square problem. Okay, what is nice about linear in parameter least square problem is that the solution, optimal solution or the optimal value of parameters, least square estimates, can be computed analytically. So just to have a recap, so this is just solution of linear least squares. Okay, we have collected data and we have some model. This model could be, in general, I said could be y is equal to theta 1 f1x theta m plus error. In general, you have a model of this form where f1, f2, f3, fm are some known functions. Simplest one we looked at was polynomials, but it did not be polynomials, it could be any functions which are known functions, and then you are doing a function approximation. If it is polynomials, it's polynomial approximation. We have collected data, we said this is u, not y. And 1 minute, we didn't use x, we use z here. So let me correct that. Okay, so z is the independent variable, it could be anything, it depends upon, in this case it did not be space, it could be any independent variable. We looked at many examples from chemical engineering where we could use this method for, and then we have this data collected which is u1, u2, un at points z1, z2, zn, and using this data we wrote number of linear equations, and finally we put it in a matrix form. U is equal to a theta plus e, where e is the modeling error, and then we found out theta least square is equal to minimum or minimize with respect to theta E transpose. Now I am going to make a little small modification here as compared to the previous development. I am going to say here E transpose W E, okay, where E is equal to U minus A theta. I want to solve this problem where W is a positive definite matrix. Is a symmetric positive definite matrix. In general, you can solve a problem. Earlier we had looked at a special case of this, that is E transpose E, where W was identity matrix. Identity matrix is a symmetric positive definite matrix. Okay, this is a special case which we have looked at earlier. I am just generalizing this. W can be, see, for example, in some situations when you collect data and fit a model, you know that a particular observation is more reliable, okay, or particular observation is less reliable. So you could attach weight, positive weight, okay, a small weight if it is less reliable, a large weight if it is more reliable, so that when you optimize, okay, the optimizer will give more importance to those which are accurate measurements, will give less importance to those which are less accurate measurements. We could actually twist this, or sometimes you need to do this because of variables have different values and so on. So this is in general formulation in which I have some weighting matrix here, which is a symmetric positive definite matrix. As you know that this will define a 2 norm and so on, right? If you take a positive definite matrix, it will be defining a 2 norm. So if I have this phi which is E transpose E, E transpose WE, then if I use necessary condition for optimality, then it is dou phi by dou theta is equal to U minus A theta transpose U minus A theta, and then we had these rules of differentiation of a scalar function. So this is a scalar function from n to r. This is a scalar function from m to r, rm to r. Theta is a m dimensional vector. This is a function of theta. Theta is a m dimensional vector in general. So this is a scalar function, and we had rules of differentiation of a scalar function with respect to a vector, and using that we came up with a formula which is, we will get this equation if you use it, A transpose WA theta least square is equal to A transpose WU. Okay, and finally we argued that if columns of A are linearly independent, then this matrix is invertible. This is a symmetric matrix, symmetric positive definite matrix, very nice matrix, and theta least square is equal to, so my least square estimate can be written as A transpose WA inverse. We also said the special case when W is equal to I, we looked at a special case. When W is equal to I, A transpose A inverse A transpose is called as pseudo inverse of matrix A. Okay, remember here A is a non-square matrix, A is a n cross m matrix, theta is a m cross 1 vector, and E is n cross 1 vector. Okay, so this is a non-square matrix, it's a non-square matrix, and then we talked about its inverse, or we talked about its pseudo inverse. Pseudo inverse is defined by A transpose A inverse A transpose. Okay, so far so good. So we have this derivation. One of your classmates was asking me in the last after the last lecture is that she knows about this formation formula using summations, you know, least square estimate using summation. Yeah, you can actually, this formula and that is not different, they are one and the same, and deriving that summation formula starting from this formula is part of one of the exercise problems. Okay, so the exercise problem which I give you next for least square estimation will have that problem. You will derive that summation formula for least square estimates. Okay, so those two things are not different. This is a more elegant, compact way of expressing the same thing. It's not different, it's one and the same thing. Okay, so the regression formula which you know with multiple summations can be very elegantly expressed through this A transpose A inverse A transpose, the same thing, exactly identical thing. When you solve the problem you will realize that it's nothing different, the same problem. Okay, what I want to do now is, so far so good, we have done a lot of algebra, we have found out the condition for optimality, then we said the second derivative here. What is the second derivative here? The second derivative here, that is dou 2 phi by dou theta square. This is nothing but A transpose WA to A transpose WA, that will be second derivative. The second derivative is always symmetric, positive definite. Okay, which means the stationary point which you have got through, this is the stationary point. This is the point at which the gradient is equal to 0. Okay, at this point the second derivative is given by this matrix, and this particular matrix is symmetric, positive definite. You have reached the global minimum. Okay, so this is fine, this is a lot of algebra. I want to give some geometric insights into what is really happening. Okay, how do you relate this to your school geometry? Okay, that's what I want to elaborate next. So what was the thing here? Here you had a non-square matrix, right? You had 100 data points, maybe only 3 parameters. We saw the example of CP versus temperature. Okay, so m was small, n was large. You are fitting some function, some polynomial, and the number of parameters were much less than the number of variables. Okay, to get in an insight into what is happening, let us not work with 100 dimensional spaces. We cannot visualize in 100 dimensional spaces, right? But in 3 dimensions I can visualize. Okay, so I am going to create a dummy problem from this, which is very simple. 3 equations in 2 unknowns. Okay, 3 equations in 2 unknowns. It's a representative problem for this equation. See, what is the main thing? Number of equations is more than number of unknowns, and then you are not able to satisfy all the equations simultaneously. If you are able to satisfy all the equations simultaneously, okay, then error would be 0. But error is not 0. You are finding out least square solution. Okay, what is the error? How do you compute the error here? What is the error vector? If you substitute this theta, you will get the error vector into this equation. Okay, so if I substitute here, if I substitute E is equal to U minus A times A transpose W A inverse A transpose W U. Okay, so I can write this is I minus A transpose W A inverse A transpose W times U. Unless this matrix is 0, you will not get exact satisfaction. So these equations are such that you cannot satisfy all of them simultaneously. You are trying to find out a least square solution, and then there is always going to be an error vector such that probably no equation is satisfied. Okay, so the curve which you get here will not probably pass through any of the points, quite likely. Okay, it only captures the tendency in the data, not going through every point in the data, because okay, so now let's try to get some insights by taking a simple dummy problem. So I am going to take a simple problem in which I have this equation to be satisfied. I want to solve this equation 1, 2, 3 is equal to, I hope that this vector cannot be defined by just linear combination of these two. Let's I have just created this problem right now. I don't know whether so when can you solve this exactly? Just think about the geometric insight of it, about it. When can you solve this? When can you actually exactly solve this? How can you write this equation? Is there another way of writing the same equation? Okay, I'll move to here. So I can write this as 1, 2, 3 is equal to theta 1 1 0 1 plus theta 2 1 1 1 0 plus E1 E2, right? I have taken a very simple problem, 3 equations, 2 unknowns. 2 unknowns in the terms of, actually there are 5 unknowns. E1 E2 E3 theta 1 theta 2, there are 5 unknowns, but well, as far as the parameters are concerned, there are only 2 unknowns, theta 1 and theta 2. 2 parameter unknowns. Okay, if I write it like this, do you get some more insight? Yeah, so theta 1 times this vector, let's call this as v1 and let's call this vector as v2. When can you solve this exactly? When will the error be equal to 0? Can you say something about the span? Don't forget the last quiz. All possible linear combinations of v1 and v2, what will it give you? Okay, let's say this is my v1 and this is my v2. Let's say this is my v1 and this is my v2. Okay, what will it span? What will it span? v1 and v2. All possible linear combinations of v1 and v2. What will it span? It will be a plane passing through the origin, right? When will the error be equal to 0? Say it louder. This is when this vector on the left hand side lies in the plane. Okay, if this vector, left hand side vector, it exactly lies in this plane, which is span of these two vectors. Okay, all possible linear combinations. Any vector in this two-dimensional plane can be generated by a linear combination. If it doesn't, what it means, where is this vector? Outside. Okay, let's picturize this as this vector. So this is my u vector. This is my u vector. This is u. Okay. So this is here, this is my u vector. So u doesn't lie in this plane. It doesn't lie in this plane. So I need to find out, what do I need to find out? A least square approximation. See, because ultimately I am finding out an approximation which is theta 1 times this vector plus theta 2 times this vector. That approximation is going to lie where? That approximation will lie somewhere here, right? A vector, see this vector will be theta 1 times v1 plus theta 2 times v2. This vector theta 1 times v1 plus theta 2 times v2 cannot leave this plane, right? It is linear combination of these two vectors. It cannot leave this plane. Okay. So in your school geometry you have studied this problem, point which is closest to this vector in this plane. How do you get it? Drop a perpendicular. Okay, I just want to show that what we have done till now by so called least squares is nothing but drop a perpendicular. Okay, the point which you will hit here, if you drop a perpendicular, what is the best approximation in the least square sense? I will show that this point is nothing but the point which is the least square approximation of this vector in this plane. Okay, I want to find out best approximation of this vector in this plane in the least square sense. From the school geometry I know just drop a perpendicular. Okay, this is the point which is closest to this plane. Okay, point which is closest to this plane. Okay, so this point, and what I actually get by solving theta least square. So what should be the theta that gives you this? Theta least square should be A transpose A inverse A transpose u. This will give you the theta, and this particular vector would be this approximation, let's call this u cap, will be A times theta ls. This will be u cap. Okay, u cap is my approximation. What is this vector? Error vector. This is, if this is u cap, if this u cap is A times theta ls, Okay, so my equation is error equal to u minus a times theta ls. My equation is u minus, okay, if I just complete this parallel, this law of vector additions, this is nothing but error vector. In least square approximation, the error vector is perpendicular to the plane. This you know from your school geometry, right? I am just generalizing that result in any inner product space. What is very, very elegant is that same result can hold in any inner product space, in any Hilbert space. You can have the same result which you know from school geometry, finding minimum distance of a point from a plane. Okay. So this problem, see, it's, you cannot visualize when suppose here, let's go back here. Okay, suppose you had 10 equations in two unknowns. Okay, I cannot visualize in the 10 dimensional plane, but linear combination of two vectors in 10 dimensions, what is it like? It will look like a plane like this, something like this. If I were a creature in 10 dimensions, I could be, it would be possible for me to visualize a 9-dimensional plane, but we cannot. So, but it will look something like this, and then what you are doing, you are just finding out the point in the plane which is at a minimum distance from this point which is lying outside the plane. Okay, geometrically what you are doing is what is called as projections. Okay, I am projecting this vector onto this plane. Projections you probably have done when you are doing your engineering drawing, right? So projections is something which you know from your engineering or right from your school. Okay, so even though you cannot visualize 10-dimensional thing, conceptually or it's not going to be different. I mean, if you are able to visualize that, it would look almost the same. So I just want to show that if I just proceed through these geometric ideas, I'll get the same thing. Okay, that is my next task. Okay, let me do a general derivation with only two vectors. Okay, in my notes there is a derivation with only one vector. One vector means distance of a point from a line. I start with that, and then I generalize it to distance of a point from a subspace. Actually, in general, if there were three vectors, okay, see, if I just modify this problem, saying that if I just modify this problem, and then here left hand side is, let's say, this is not coming from some physical problem, I am just arbitrarily creating some set of equations. Let's say I have this problem. Okay, now here what can you say? The least square solution will be lying in the subspace spanned by this column vector, and this column vector. The least square solution will lie in the subspace spanned by this column vector, this column vector, this column vector. Okay, the component which is outside the subspace is given by this error. Okay, we are able to split, actually geometrically speaking, we are able to split a vector into two components, one lying in the subspace and one orthogonal to the subspace. Okay, we are able to split the vector through least square. What is the subspace? Subspace is spanned by linear combination of columns. Okay, linear combination of columns will give me subspace. This E1, E2 to E5 will give me the component which is outside the subspace. Together they form this whole vector. Okay, together they form this whole vector. Now I want to generalize this and then just show you that what we have derived. Well, I am going to take a case where W is equal to I. Okay, weighting matrix is equal to I. I am not going to complicate life by, so that will give me some handle to Okay, so let's write. So this is let's call this. Okay, in my notes I am calling this vector as A1, this vector as A2, this vector as A3. Okay, so in general I can write my model as U is equal to capital U. This my original model is U is equal to A theta plus error, and I am writing my A matrix as A1, A2, AM. There are m columns, these are column vectors, there are m columns. Okay, in this case there are 3 columns, here there are m columns. Okay, so I can write this equation as U is equal to theta 1 A1 plus theta 2 A2. I can write this vector equation. Okay, now to simplify life, let's take a case where there are only 3 vectors. Okay, so generalization to m is not so difficult. So I will just take theta 1 plus theta 3 A3 plus E. This is the case when we have taken m is equal to 3. There are 3 parameters, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. I want to find out least square estimates of these square estimates of this. Okay, using, okay, I am going to call this vector, see this vector belongs to the subspace. Which vector? This vector P, I am going to call this as a projection vector theta 1 A1 plus theta 2 A2 plus theta 3 A3. This is the projection vector. This is the projection of U on okay. This is projection of see, it's linear combination of A1, A2, A3. So this P vector has to lie in the subspace spanned by A1, A2, A3, right? It has to lie in the subspace spanned by A1, A2, A3. So this is a projection. I am going to call this as a projection of U onto subspace spanned by. What is it that I want to minimize? How do I find out this? I find this out by minimizing square of distance, right? I want to find out, so my problem is find theta such that error to norm is minimum, right? To norm of error is minimum, right? Okay, so let's start doing this. So what does it mean? So I want to minimize a phi which is 2 norm error square, which is P minus U or U minus P, right? But what is, this is a 2 norm. We are working in the inner product space. So 2 norm square is related to the inner product. How? So this is U minus P, right? Inner product of vector U minus P, okay. Now my model is this, U is equal to theta. So I can write phi to be inner product of U minus theta 1 A1 plus theta 2 A2 plus theta 3 A3 into u minus p. P is again this vector. I can write this vector again here, right? What is p? Theta 1 A1 plus theta 2 A2 plus theta 3 A3. I can just put this vector here in place of p. It will be a longer expression. Okay. Now, how do you find out the minimum? What is the necessary condition? Can you do this? See, my necessary condition is, we'll have to expand this, but before expanding, let us apply the necessary condition. Okay. So my necessary condition for optimality is dou phi by dou theta 1 is equal to 0, dou phi by dou theta 2 is equal to 0, and dou phi by dou theta 3 is equal to 0, right? These are my three conditions. Is everyone with me on this? These are my three conditions. Okay. If I differentiate this phi with respect to theta, okay, what will I get? Okay, just look at it. You are differentiating only once. Okay. If I differentiate only to this first vector, what will remain? Only a will remain. Okay, you can check this, but I am just going to write the final result, that dou phi by dou theta 1, this is nothing but, you will get here a1 comma okay. If I differentiate this, I am skipping in between steps. You can actually expand this, entire inner product. Okay, you will get many terms. Okay, you have to patiently find out the inner product of each element by element. You know the rules of expanding inner product, right? Right. So what I will get is a1 inner product with this is equal to 0. So actually what I am getting here is that a1 inner product u minus p is equal to 0, because this is projection vector. This is my projection vector. Okay. So what I am getting is a1 inner product u minus p is equal to 0. What is this? U minus p? Error vector. So what it says is that error vector is perpendicular to a1 direction. Same thing if you do with theta 2, okay. So setting dou phi by dou theta 2 is equal to 0, you will get a2 u minus p is equal to 0. Okay, you will get this equation, and well, the third equation that you will get is, the third equation that you get is dou phi by dou theta 3 is equal to 0. So that is equal to a3 u minus p, this is equal to 0. So what is the meaning of this? What is the geometric meaning of this? That this error vector is perpendicular to a1, a2 and a3. Okay. If error vector is perpendicular to a1, a2, a3, will be perpendicular to linear combination of a1, a2, a3. Yeah. What is linear combination of a1, a2, a3? It will be in the span of a1, a2, a3. It is in the subspace of a1, a2, a3. Okay. So this error vector is perpendicular to the span of a1, a2, a3. Okay, which means best approximation of u in the span of a1, a2, a3 is obtained just by dropping a, this is just generalization of the result from your school geometry. Drop a perpendicular from a point to a plane, okay? That is the best approximation of that vector in that plane. That's all, okay? That's all we are generalizing into a general function space or into a general inner product space, okay? Now, when is this possible? This is possible only when you have inner product defined. That is very, very important. Okay, why we are so much, why we like least square approximation as against one norm approximation or infinite norm approximation, because this least square approximation comes attached with inner product. Inner product can be related to the geometry. You can talk about perpendicularity, you can talk about projections. The same idea of projections which you use in 3 dimensions, okay, distance of a point from a plane, it just drop a perpendicular, okay, same idea is actually being said here. So all that we have proved is, if I redraw this figure in 2 dimensions, if I have this plane which is spanned by say V1 and V2, so this is my A1, let's say this is my A1 and A2, and this is a vector, this is my vector u, okay, this is my u vector, then this is the p vector, projection vector, this is the projection vector, okay, this is the projection vector, and here what we are getting is this projection vector, and this error vector E here is u minus p, okay. This is the special vector such that this error, see, if I take any other vector here, this error will not be perpendicular. There are so many ways of approximating this in this plane. I could approximate here, I could approximate here. Somebody will say that this is the approximation. This is one possible way of approximating. What is the least square approximation? Perpendicular. Okay, least square approximation is the perpendicular. Now I need to go back from here and show, I should start with these 3 equations and show that, well, what you have got actually is nothing but the same formula of A transpose A inverse. I need to derive that, right? I have just showed geometrically that these 3 vectors, so if I take A1, A2, the plane spanned by this, and the error is perpendicular to this plane spanned by this, and so on. So now I need to go back and connect to A transpose A inverse business. I'll do that. Okay. How do I get theta 1, theta 2, theta 3? I get theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 by solving these 3 equations. A1 inner product u minus theta 1 A1 plus theta 2 A2 plus theta 3 A3 is equal to 0, right? Right? Well, in 3 dimensions, in general in m dimensions, how do you, with real values, what is the inner product? Simple inner product? A transpose B, if there are A and B 2 vectors. So here this will be, so this first equation I can rewrite as A1 transpose U is equal to, I am just skipping one step in between, okay, I am just writing theta 1 A1 transpose A1, right? A1 with A1, A1 with A2 and A1 with A3, right? Theta 2 A1 transpose A2 plus theta 3 A1 transpose A3, right? What is the second equation? Second equation is A2 U minus P is equal to 0, right? u minus p is equal to 0, what will it give you? A2 transpose u is equal to A2 theta 1 A2 transpose. By the way, A1 transpose A1, is it a scalar? Always a scalar. A2 transpose A1 transpose A2, is it a scalar? Always a scalar, right? So I'll get another equation, theta 2 into A2 transpose A2 plus theta 3 A2 transpose A3. Okay, I'll just write the third equation, just follow with this same thing. I'll get A3 transpose u is equal to theta 1 A3 transpose A1 plus theta 2 A3 transpose A2 plus theta 3 A3 transpose A3. Is everyone with me on this? I have just rewritten those equations. I started with the geometric. I started by saying that, well, what we have done is nothing but projections. Okay, this error vector is perpendicular to A1, error vector is perpendicular to A2. Okay, these are the equations which I have written. Error vector perpendicular to A1, error vector perpendicular to A2, and in this case error vector perpendicular to A3. How many equations and how many unknowns? 3 equations and 3 unknowns. What are the 3 unknowns? Theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. So what do I get here? What do I get here? Right hand side, I can write this as A1 transpose A1, A1 transpose A3, and you can just collect it in the vector matrix form. This is A3 transpose A1, A3 transpose A3, this into theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, right? The right hand side I can write as a 3 cross 3 matrix. Okay, just check, this matrix is nothing but, if I start with A is equal to A1, A2, A3, these are the 3 columns of A matrix. Okay, very easy to check that this matrix is nothing but A transpose A. Is multiplication of A transpose A is this matrix. Okay, the algebra ties in with the geometry very nicely. Okay, algebraically we arrived at this condition, A transpose A theta is equal to A transpose u. Now just look at this left hand side. What is left hand side? The left hand side I can write here, the LHS I can write as A1 transpose A2 transpose A3 transpose u. What is this? A transpose u, right? A transpose u. Okay, that is the result which we got purely by doing algebra of necessary conditions of optimality. So A transpose u is equal to A transpose A times theta, least square solution, right? So this is my theta. Okay, I started with the geometric argument of projection onto a subspace. I was able to recover the least square formula, which is A transpose A times theta is equal to A transpose u. What is the least square estimate? This theta will be least square estimate, of course. We call it estimate, so we give a hat above it. So this is estimate of theta. This is not, there is no unique way of finding out theta. There are multiple ways, but least square estimate is unique. How it is computed? A transpose A times theta is equal to A transpose U. A transpose A, if columns of A are linearly independent, okay, A transpose A is always invertible. This is always a square invertible matrix, symmetric, positive definite, square invertible, very very nice matrix. Okay, this matrix which we study in linear algebra does appear in a very very practical application. We are trying to fit a curve in some data, or try to fit a function in some data. Positive definite, symmetric, invertible matrix. Okay. So this particular result, A transpose A times theta least square is equal to A transpose U. We could recover this result purely through geometric arguments of projection. We said that basically what is happening here is we are trying to find out that vector in the plane spanned by A1, A2, which is at the closest distance from a vector which is outside this plane. Why we need least squares? Because this vector is not lying in this plane. What will happen if this vector was lying in this plane? Error would be 0. Okay, what is the extreme situation? This U is perpendicular. Okay, so what is the best approximation? 0. Okay, if U is perpendicular, probably you have done wrong modeling, you know. Error should be small, not that error the vector is perpendicular to. So this is a very very nice result. This ties in with, actually there is one more angle to whole of this thing. So we derive this result through algebra, we derive this result through geometry, we can derive the same result to statistics, and you will get those summations which you are familiar with. I am not going to go into statistical interpretation of the same thing. I will upload my notes on statistical interpretation, but if I go into statistical interpretation of this result, it will take at least 2 weeks of, you know, I have to introduce so many concepts, but finally you will derive the same results. You will get a different insight from the statistics viewpoint. See, I got a different insight into the same result through geometric viewpoint. Okay, algebra didn't tell me much, you know, it just said that derivative equal to 0. Here I can relate it to my school geometry. That's very very important. Okay, so that is the beauty of this result. You can actually show that the least square estimate obtained algebraically is nothing but projection of a point onto a subspace. Okay, finding out a vector in a subspace which is at the minimum distance from a point outside the subspace. Okay, that's where, you know, that's why we work with inner product spaces, Hilbert spaces, because angle comes, you know, attached with the inner product. You can talk of orthogonality. Okay, all these things are not possible in other you know, Banach spaces. So that's why Hilbert spaces are so special. Okay, so next lecture we'll continue on some more algebraic properties of least square. I'll show something more, and then we'll move to variety of fields, engineering applications, that is function approximations, and also solving partial differential equation or boundary value problems. We'll revisit our problems again through this least squares approximation.